Sean Lewis, Brandon Easton, John Timms, Cully Hammer, and Valentin Delandro return to wrap up some of their Superman-centric future state stories. As Superman learns a valuable lesson, Mr. Miracle performs one final escape, and the Guardian rises to the challenge to become Metropolis's new protector. Sean Lewis headlined the book with 2 stories this issue, the first finishing up his wonderful Superman arc that saw John Kent own up to his past mistakes and realize what he needs to do to become a Superman all his own. I very much enjoyed how John got to have a talk with his father, but not in the way that he wanted or that people thought he would get. Yet he still learned a valuable lesson from these different Supermen and how he doesn't need to be a better Superman than Clark, he just needs to be a better Superman of his own, which is a great lesson for him to learn and for him to finally become Metropolis's Superman right there at the end. Lewis's other story tied nicely into this one as well, as Guardian showed how the people of Metropolis can come together in times of hardship to stop a threat. The sense of community this story had was quite fantastic, and I've always enjoyed when comics have a backup or a piece of the story dedicated to the everyday people, since it's all pure world building and gives some life to the backdrop of the hero's story. Brandon Easton's Mr. Miracle story was much the same as the last 2 times we got it, in that it was an action-packed, fast-paced, and was a lot of fun. Yet I still have no idea why we got what was technically part 3 of the story in the Superman Worlds of War issue a few weeks ago, whereas this part of the story was part 2. It was a completely strange way to tell the stories, especially when they could have easily just excised them from each issue and just swapped them. No one would have known any difference. They're written by the same writers and the artists, so it really wouldn't have mattered in the long run. Again, the art is top-notch, led by John Timms and his work on the Superman story, which is filled with some lovely 2-page action spreads. I enjoyed the 4 Superman clones and how each represented a different era of Superman's history, as seen in their different costumes, as well as the added concept that they are all faceless, which ups the creep factor a little bit, other than the fact that they are strange clones that Brain Cells has managed to get from the past and the future. Valentin Delandro's Mr. Miracle again was superb, and the way she drew the fight scenes with great use of Marissa Louise's colours was really great, and I really like how it brought Shiloh's tricks and illusions to life. I specifically like the raindrop illusion and the kaleidoscope of colours that were used to pull that off. Cully Hammer's Guardian work, while having its fair share of action as well, echoed the story and focused on the people of Metropolis. So we get lots of great shots of the people of the city coming together to win the day. Cully's take on Metropolis is also really great, especially since it's all set at night, so the city is just bathed in this warm light. Again, echoing the story of people coming together and being a family and a community. Future State Superman of Metropolis issue 2 was a fantastic cap-off to one of the Superman Future State books, giving a rather satisfying ending to John Kent's Metropolis portion of the story, as well as Mr. Miracle and Guardian's portions. We also got a really great look at Metropolis, as the backstories on these issues has been fantastic and gave a new fun and hopeful look at the Metropolis of the future. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Future State Superman of Metropolis issue 2 finds Brain Cells explaining Brainiac's old ship has changed in a few ways since Clark was last on it. He tells John, since many planets couldn't be saved, their trees and soils were, and they were allowed to grow throughout the ship. John tells the villain Metropolis doesn't need to be saved, and he was told Brain Cells was a conservationalist. Cells says that he is, and he's conserving the city away from Superman, since he is made of fear, and fear makes men do horrible things, like shrink a city with no thought to what might happen to the people inside. John flies into a rage, knowing that the only thing that they should be scared of is Brain Cells. The villain says that he is so much better than John when he is scared and irrational, and he will make sure Metropolis thrives in the ship. Superman proclaims that he is the city's protector, not Brain Cells, who says Superman talks a big game, but it's just a game, and if he really wanted to protect the city, he would have exiled the army, not run or hide the city and bottle it. He wonders what his father would say, thinking maybe he should ask him. John is blown back by the computers as Brain Cells unleashes 4 Superman clones. Brain Cells says that he looked through the past and to the future and found a lot of Clark Kents, but no Jonathans, wondering what that could mean. The villain leaves to deal with the city as John is left to face the clones, who reveal each of them are from a certain era in Clark's history, all brought to life by Brain Cells. They talk about how John is faltering at the slightest challenge, while they have fought Nazis, the Red Scare, Doomsday, and even their own powers to prevent Metropolis from ever being in danger, yet John just hands it over to the enemy. The Supermen attack as back in the Fortress of Solitude, Supergirl awakens, shown by Kellex what became of Superman and how he was taken by Brain Cells and they left Earth in his ship. She watches the recording and gets the coordinates for the ship from Kellex as she has brought one of the shrink rays. Kellex says as long as Metropolis is in the glass bottle, the people should be able to breathe, but space could affect the way the shrink ray works and how it grows the atoms of Metropolis. Supergirl reassures him that she'll bring the city back to Earth, cocking the gun and heading into space. John meanwhile battles the 4 Superman clones, knowing his therapy premiums are about to go up. One Superman decides to give him some free counseling, telling him that he can't change anything and it's best for him to keep things the same, but another says that they need to fight for the beliefs and bend anyone to them. But the other says that the only way to win is to outthink everyone in the war. John begins to think about that and think about Brain Cell building this experience for him, tricking him into shrinking the city. John asks the villain why, but Brainiac already knows he knows why, having told him his mission was to make humans better, and he or Kara won't stop him. The villain tells the Supermen that if John can't learn his lesson, they are to kill him. Facing the Supermen, John knows they aren't his father and they aren't him, but their point is taken, and he doesn't have the strength, but he doesn't need it either. John grabs Brain Cells, throwing him at the Supermen, knowing all these different types of Supermen needed something immediate to define them, and he's letting the end of the world define him before it's even happened, and it's made him less of what he can be, but that won't be happening anymore. Supergirl meanwhile finds the ship, reminding herself that she doesn't know what John was doing, but he was trying his best. She's suddenly blasted by a group of drones, but knows that it will take a lot more than a few laser blasts to stop Supergirl, the most powerful person in the universe. She goes to retrieve the shrink ray that has blown away into space, but the gun is cut in half by one of the drones. Kara thanks the ship for doing that, since now she doesn't have to be nice to them. Inside Brain Cell's ship, John tells Brain Cells his plan with the 4 Supermen almost worked and he wanted to go easy on them, but not anymore. John grabs the villain, using the villain's neurodium laser to blast one of the Supermen and destroy them, realizing that the neurodium works on Kryptonians, so it should work on the clones. The panicked Brain Cells tells his remaining Supermen to surround John, but the boy flips up onto Brain Cells again, ripping open another one of his cannons and using it to finally destroy the remaining Supermen and the neurodium. John knows that the villain underestimated him and he didn't think he had it in him as Supergirl arrives, agreeing with the villain's sentiments. She gives John an apology, dumping the destroyed drones Brain Cells sent after her. John knows an apology from Kara is rare and very unheard of, as the woman apologizes for calling him weak, but John says that she was right. Kara knows that there are more pressing issues at hand since the shrink ray was damaged. John tells her to fuse it together with her heat vision and get Brain Cells to help her. Brain Cells says that an neurodium has been destroyed, but John knows his brain hasn't, so he will help Kara or she will remember he blasted her and left her for dead in the fortress. Kara asks where John is going, learning that he's heading home since he owes an apology to Metropolis. Supergirl puts Brain Cells to work as John returns Metropolis to the crater he pulled it from. He knows he made a mistake and he can't change how the people will see him since they could possibly have been in there for months given how space and time work. He hopes Kara can hear him and she does as she blasts the city with the resize gun, resizing it perfectly to as it was. John smashes up the empty bottle, telling himself that these people need more than what his father was to them. They need a commitment. John gets to work helping the people in the city before telling the gathered citizens that a child almost getting hurt spiraled into their lives being upended and bottled, all because he was scared of letting them down, thinking that shrinking them could help, but now with Trojan, Brain Cells, and the army gone, he is the only one left. He understands if they don't want to trust him ever again, since he was wrong and he is in their care, not the other way around, and he's there to serve them, and from now on, he will be the Superman of Metropolis no matter how hard it gets. Before the city was unbottled, Mr. Miracle faces down some of the robots sent to kill him and his energy source. He distracts them, pretending Superman is in the alley behind him as a masked man finishes spray painting the House of L symbol on the wall. Shiloh avoids the robots' guns as MB finishes scanning the barrier, telling Shiloh that the barrier's concern is a higher priority than the robots. As he uses his aerodiscs to take down a robot, he learns the barrier can be penetrated with a narrow, focused, high-yield energy source. Shiloh knows of course it would be the one thing he's running out of, knowing that he could use MB's energy, but he would be then stuck and without a mother box. Needing a moment to regroup, Mr. Miracle smashes a fire hydrant, spraying water all over the area, which he uses to project multiple illusions of himself. The real Shiloh escapes into the alley nearby, wanting to find the street artist who drew the Superman symbol on the wall, since he's got questions for the man. Later at Baker Line, Mr. Miracle catches up to the man, wanting him to elaborate on his work. The masked man says that he's glad Shiloh is with them since he knows what's happened to Metropolis, but they need to move quickly and quietly. The man says that every moment and every conversation is being observed and recorded, but before Shiloh can learn who is doing it, the robots return, intent on finishing off Mr. Miracle and his mother box. The robots blast the hero into the bus shelter behind him as Shiloh realizes that they have caught on to his suit's tricks, so it's up to some good old-fashioned illusions to save him. Utilizing some misdirection and smoke, Mr. Miracle escapes up to a building, learning his energy source is only at 4%. Mr. Miracle knows that he needs to make sense of this quickly since the people won't remain calm for long. Soon one of the robots blows him from the roof, so Shiloh asks MB to get a full energy discharge ready, despite MB saying that will result in a total shutdown of it and his suit. He activates the parasite effect, allowing him to siphon ambient cosmic background radiation into one final blast. The only downside being that this would probably destroy Mother Box. The resulting explosion destroys the robots, but he finds it wasn't enough to destroy the dome. Luckily, Mother Box is still online as it picks up temporal anomaly energy which is Kryptonian in nature. Suddenly, Mr. Miracle is grabbed by some of the leftover robot components that are on the ground and they zap him away, as elsewhere, Jimmy Olsen continues to spray paint the city with the Superman symbols, trying to inspire hope in the lost city. In the West River, Guardian is pulled from the water by a group of people as Honest Mary's message goes out to all of Metropolis, saying that she's going to throw their last idol off the Daily Planet. One of the men knows that they can't waste time with Guardian since they need to go and save Jimmy Olsen as Guardian spits up the water he swallowed, demanding the people give him his shield. The people give him his helmet and shield as Jake asks who they are. He learns that they are all part of Jimmy's little organization who helped erect the Superman billboards around town and help the people. That is until Honest Mary ruined it all. Mary's message detailing how the last false god of Metropolis will be sacrificed continues to play as the group try and come up with a plan. Jake coordinates with them and learns what wares they have stockpiled, from firefighter nets to climbing packs and even a communication studio they could use to get a message out. Jake dons his helmet and shield, telling them to get to the Daily Planet now, since if Honest Mary wants attention, she's gonna get it while he gets Jimmy. At the Daily Planet, Jimmy calls Mary a murderer, but the woman knows that she's just curing the city and it should make Jimmy happy since they've all been so ill looking up at a man who's locked them away in a snow globe. Yet Jimmy is plastering his symbol all over the city, so if he wants to be close to the sun, it's time to see if he can fly. Jimmy knows that throwing him from the building won't fix this, but Mary thinks that it's a start and the people deserve that. Jake meanwhile is given the gear he needs to scale the building, learning the climbing frame was made by a bunch of high school students. Rosa reminds Jake that he's in Metropolis now and they take science very seriously there. Jake tells them to keep Mary busy as he takes off up the building while Mary wants to say some kind words about Jimmy before she kills him. The Guardian, however, arrives, punching her down off the globe. Mary knows that she was tricked into thinking he was dead, but hopes he can fly now as she undoes the rope attached to Jimmy, causing him to fall from the building. Guardian jumps off after him, using the climbing gear to anchor himself into the building as he grabs Jimmy, swinging low over the people. The people below rejoice in Jimmy being saved, reminding the man that the city loves him and it's a good way to bring them together. Mary, however, activates her contingency, blowing up the Daily Planet and escaping. The Guardian and Jimmy head to the ground, where the Guardian says he let the people down thanks to Mary escaping. The group don't think so, since now it's time for them to help him. Over the next few weeks, the people band together as a city-wide neighborhood watch, tracking Mary down, and soon they corner her in a rundown building. Mary says that she was trying to give them all a purpose, as Guardian arrives, saying that they found a purpose in capturing her. Mary knows that Jake is such a liar since he wants to kill her, but Rosa says they all took a vote and decided that killing her would be a little too honest, so instead they're going to arrest and jail her. As Mary is led away to be incarcerated, Jimmy wants to celebrate with some of his good old-fashioned pie shakes, but Rosa takes Jake aside for a moment, kissing the hero as throughout the city, a crash is heard. Above the people, the dome is broken open by Superman, who arrives to issue an apology for what he has done to the people, as Jake knows the hero sure does know how to make an entrance.